What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and some more Team Yankee as we continue to add on to our Iraqi force. So picking up some odds and ends just to finish off everything finally. So we needed a couple of these vehicles here. So basically this is the BRDM-2 Recon Platoon, which has 4 vehicles in it and is now also in that wonderful all plastic setup. But this lets us make several different things. So if we want to go with just strictly BRDM-2s, spandrels, and gaskins, so basically giving us anti-tank and anti-air missile options and stuff like that there. And by the looks of it too, as long as we're careful with the way we're gluing and assembling things here, really this should be actually interchangeable, which is really nice. Then we don't have to necessarily buy multiple kits just to, for each vehicle anymore. That being said, of course, I think, if you want to maximize how many you can take in the various formations, you may end up at some point wanting to get a couple extra boxes. But for now, this will serve our purposes for what we're doing with our various planned Iraqi lists. But anyway, we're going to get this open, sorted up for you guys, and then we'll take a look. Alrighty, guys, we got everything open here, and here's what we get. So we got one card for each of the vehicle types that we can make. Again, our commander sprue here with our various figures for that. Our wonderful plastics. Alrighty, so then we have our wonderful plastics here, and again, all the variants basically on the one sprue. So we'll flip that over just to get the details here. So again, nice that this has been updated into plastic, and really considering that the chassis is the same thing, it just makes sense having all the variants here as one kit. And again, as long as you're doing the assembly right, very easy just to swap out the turrets and go from game to game basically with what you need. So really good stuff there. And then our 3 variants here. So the spandrel, which I think is what we're going to initially go with here, just to have some more anti-tank. It's basically your anti-tank missile spam here. So Courage 4, Skill 5, Morale 3, Remount 3, Assault 6, Counterattack 5 up, has a teeny bit of armor, not much of course, 100, is hit on 3s. Speed, fairly decent, especially if you can get the road dash if you need to, right? Wheeled vehicle on the road, of course. 4 up cross, AT-5 spandrel missile. So again, we all know what that does. Minimum 8-inch range, but can certainly reach out to 48. So certainly able to cover a good part of a board as long as you can get careful positioning, or if you do need to make that occasional redeployment, you should be well within range of most things. Can only fire while halted, of course, and only rate of fire 1. Would have been nice to have 2 here, but it is what it is, and still does what it does enough for its points, certainly. So not a major downside to it at all. AT-21, 3 up firepower, so good stuff there, guided and heat. So do be wary of things like chop-em and so on, of course. We'll see that in just a second when we take a peek at the back here. So you get 3 for 2 and 2 for 1. Amphibious, guided, heat again, so is not increased for range over 16. Great. Guided also helps us with no range penalty there. Target armor is not increased for 16, or over 16, we should say again. Affected by applique, bazooka, skirts, BDD, and chop-em and ERA though. So again, if you're dealing with that, it may be better to pick potentially other targets, but again, even then, just going off the top of the head there, I think, what is it, you get like 16 or something like that against heat. So, still fairly deadly. But again, AT-21 will make easy work of, much lighter vehicles. So, leaving your tanks to deal with the main threats there. Infrared as well. The gaskin, on the other hand, is, again, Iraqis seem like they're spoiled for anti-air options here. So we've, in previous videos, looked at the Gopher, and just going with that, I think just for the time being, at least, just with that really solid firepower of 3 up. But the gaskin's also dirt cheap. Again, same stats overall as the spandrel as far as the vehicle is concerned. But here the SA-9 gaskin AA missile just reaches out to 48, which is wonderful. No minimum. Very good there. Does have a rate of fire 2 per vehicle, and again, these things are really dirt cheap, as we'll see in a second. Firepower 5 is the reason why we're not, at least initially, focusing on that, and again, we kind of picked up the Gopher as our, I think, at least initial attempt at anti-air, and still has guided AA, so, but again, you can't really beat these for the points, right? 4 for 2, 2 for 1, guided AA, and amphibious. So, and then finally the humble BRDM-2. So tank unit, amphibious, infrared, and spearhead. Again, same vehicle stats, but main armament here is a 14.5 millimeter MG and 7.62. No anti-air or anything ability on it, or any other special rules there, but the 14 will reach out to 20, as we see. Good rate of fire, 3.2, AT5, so certainly you can threaten some things on the side there, or just in general deal with lighter vehicles and similar things to what the BRDM-2 is, basically. Firepower 5, though, and the small machine gun, of course, just the 6 there, as is the case for pretty much all machine guns there. Again, same deal here, 4 for 2, 2 for 1. It does have infrared and then spearhead, more importantly. So unit can move before the game to expand the deployment area. So again, really good stuff there. But again, in our list, we are running Iraqis here, so slightly different options available than just a pure Soviet list or other forces that have access to some of this stuff. But again, at least initial interest on our part here, I think, is basically just taking the spandrels, or fielding the spandrels, just to have a little bit more anti-tank and just other vehicle cleanup options there. Again, at least initially, we think we have a fair bit of anti-air between the Gophers, and then still need to pick up some Shilkas, but that's a project for another time once those are actually available somewhere. But that being said, Gaskin is, for the same amount of vehicles, half the price of the Gophers. Just again, a little bit less rate of fire, and then the firepower is certainly much worse here. But again, half the points. So it just remains to be seen. We've got to get some testing in, certainly, see which option's better. So as we kind of take a peek at our Gophers here, these things are just redonkulous looking. But again, nice thing being able to just switch between any variant here, and as long as you're not gluing stuff down, gotta remember that, you should be okay. So overall, really nice kit. I love when whenever a company can do this and give you like multiple options in a kit, and you're not necessarily forced to choose, and just let you actually swap out, unlike some of the other companies out there. But anyway, so just good stuff overall. And again, we get our Soviet versions of the cards and stuff here. I think we have all our stuff on the Iraqi side, though. But anyway, whether you guys play Soviets, Iraqis, or anybody else that fields these, let us know. First of all, if it's dealing with anti-tank missile spam, do you go with something like the Spandrel, or do you have other options available? What do you prefer there? If you're dealing with anti-air, or if you're trying to field anti-air, do you prefer something a little bit nastier seeming like the Gopher with the better rate of fire and better firepower, or do you want to just go cheap with something like the Gaskin, albeit again a little bit less firepower, a little bit less rate of fire? And then the sort of odd man out here, just because these guys are dealing with missiles, the other guy here, the BRDM-2, for your scouting purposes, recon purposes. How and what quantity do you guys field them, and where do you feel they stack up or stumble against opposing forces? So hit us up in the comments, guys. Let us know what your experience has been so far, any recommendations you might make, whether you guys again are playing Soviets or Iraqis like we're trying to build up here. Thoughts on those? Drop us some comments, leave a like and subscribe, guys. We got plenty more coming for you, and then we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for hanging out.